Alright, we're going to do a little video. This is a 2008 Kawasaki Versys. If you got one, you'll recognize it. You might want to put an air filter in there, and that's where it goes, in a little bitty slot. So, to get to that, the big thing is getting the tank off. You do have a fuel line here, which is under pressure. It's got lots of slack in it. So you can actually set the back of your tank up quite high right here. Give you plenty of room under there to work with it. And you need to throw a little rag in there or something because you're going to leak a little bit of gas. So the big thing is you've got your connector here for your fuel pump. Now your fuel pump has a wire that runs up and under and up to the pump itself. So you've got a little short harness that comes off. It plugs in down here. You got another plug here for the fuel level sender, so they're right there next together in the same little harness. You've got a hose, a vent, or a drain, I guess. You can kind of see where it came down. It goes right down through here and just sticks down out the bottom. So you kind of fish that out. That's not too difficult. I did have a little issue trying to figure out how this thing, it's kind of an odd looking connection. I just didn't realize how it comes apart. It's really not too bad. You just push that piece down or in right there and then it pops out. So that wasn't too hard. That one you just push and pop it out. This piece has a little notch in it. You can kind of see it right there in the connector. So you just get a screwdriver right in there at the right angle and turn it, and that little red part of that clip just pops up, and that's what releases it, and it sticks right there. So it doesn't come off, it just comes out to that distance and stops, and then you can kind of wiggle this back and forth a little bit and slip it off of the gas tank. Now to get your filter off, you pull this hose right here. So basically I just put a couple screwdrivers there and push that off, pull that out of the way. You got a screw right here and you got a place right there, put your screwdriver in there and kind of get the filter loose so you can pull it up. And here's what it looks like. Okay, it comes out basically like that. Now when I went to pull mine out, mine was loose right over here. This foam had come out just slightly, and you can see it fits in there real tight. So when I went to pull it up, it came up part way and then it kind of stuck. As it turned out, this edge of this filter right in here was loose, and it caught up under the edge right in here of your air box. So I had to kind of work with that to look down there with a flashlight and try to figure out what was going on, why it wouldn't come out. So it took a while really just to get that out of there. And I guess the thing is this filter is really just not very, you can see how thin, and it's just a piece of foam, kind of a dual layer foam. It just sits in there real simple. So I don't know, maybe I'll stick a little bit of glue up underneath there when I get done with it. You just clean it. It's an oil. You put oil, you clean it, you put oil back on it, and you just pop it in there. You don't actually replace your filter. It's almost like a K&N filter. You wash it and put it back in. Well, that's kind of the way it's made. If you go to buy one of these, they're about almost $100 for a new filter, which it's a filter you clean and you put back, you dry it out, you put it back in, so you don't actually have to replace it. There's a couple of things here. Getting this tank off, you pull these trim pieces here off the side, and you can see I pulled this piece here, which is got one screw and a little rubber holder. Your other trim pieces fit in here, here, and then on the tank there's two of these on the tank. So you basically just kind of pop those out with a screwdriver. You've got some screws here, and then some of these little plastic screws. They look like screws, but they're not really screws. They just pop together. There's a screw there, and then a screw up under your fairing here. So that's not too bad. And then you can just leave those like that. I don't know about everybody else, I have a little problem right here where this piece lays down against this plastic instrument panel and just vibrates and makes a hell of a racket. So I had to, originally when I figured out what was going on there, I just kind of stuck a business card in there, but that vibrated out and fell down in there. And so now I found a little piece of foam, high density foam, and actually kind of almost looks like it fits in there, like it's made for that. But at any rate, it solves the problem. I don't know if anybody else has had that issue. This thing, if you look at your book, you got a lot of stuff. There's your computer. Put up under here. It's the computer, the fuel injection computer, and the igniter both. So here's your fuses. Pop the cover off. You got an extra spare in there, but it wouldn't hurt to have a few more. Now you don't have a whole lot of storage space. You can see I got a couple things fitting here, an air gauge and just some basics. But oh, and here's that nice rack that I bought off the Kawasaki Versys forum. And you can see it just bolts on right where the original handholds are, and it's a nice solid rack. He makes a couple of different versions of that, and just put some plastic pieces. So it's a nice solid rack, and I've actually got a box. I'll show it to you in a minute that I bolt to that. Not big enough to put a filter in. I mean a helmet in. Excuse me. All right, here's your. And you can see mine's probably a little bit low, but that's your overflow for the radiator. Now if you look up under there, actually right here is the front. This is your air intake right there. I really can't get my hand up in there. But so your radiator's here, so you're actually getting kind of somewhat hot air actually getting up into your box. And then you can see it goes up through the filter, and then it goes down and into your throttle bodies. So, I don't know. It might be kind of nice if we had something it's just holes. You could fit something in there that give you some air out here to the side or something. Like you could almost make some pieces that would just fit up in there, and maybe put a couple screws here where it come out and gave you some cold air from, say, right at this point right here, and then just went in and popped in there. You could make a couple things that would do that and give you some cold air induction there. Here's your coil on plug. They call it a stick coil. I don't know how good you can see that. Let me go over here and get my flashlight. Here's what the bottom of your seat looks like. Here's your service manual. Nice big manual there, lots of stuff. Definitely need that. Here's what the bottom of your seat looks like. It just pops in here in a couple places, and then the front fits up under the tank. Your tank bolt fits right there. Here's your side of your tank, and there's your fuel pump. So your line just fits up on there and clips onto that. Here's your pigtail I was telling you about. So, and it's a nice waterproof type connection. Then there's your wire coming down. So right up under here is where your fuel level sender is. As you can see, here's where everything pops into place there. And your little side, they call those the mid side covers, I think. And there's 2 screws for the back, and you do need to leave this open so you don't have any pressure. And just leave that open. You don't want your tank building up pressure, pushing fuel back out through your fuel pump. So here's what your little mid side cover looks like. Pretty thin, little cheap plastic things, but they work. Now one of my, what was this one? Yeah. One of my side covers, there you can see it on the back, it was broken. When I took it off, it's got a little plastic piece back there. And the rest of those are screws, but on the very back it pops into your gas tank. Well, mine was busted, so whatever. Yeah, let's look at this one. See, you can see it's supposed to have a little nipple on it, and the other one's broken off. So those are really not that hard to get off. Oh, and I noticed one thing too about adjusting your headlight. and I haven't actually got to it, but there's your adjuster for the top. You can adjust the up and down, and then you can adjust left and right on the other side. And let me just put some light on that. Right up in there, if you can see that adjuster there. I'm sure you can. So you just turn that, and then that turns your bulb up and down, and then you got one on the other side. You can do that without taking anything apart. There's your other one right there. So you just reach up in there and turn that baby, and then that turns it left and right. The other one's up and down. So you can reach up under that fairing and get to that without having to do much. But that's what it looks like. Nice bike. You got a lot of stuff on this thing. There's kind of a view down in there. Not quite sure how good that'll show up. There's your air coming in. Should be able to see that. Zoom in and see. That's any better. Maybe not. There's an air switch, or an air valve, it says right there, which is recirculation, I guess. Got pretty good, looks like good waterproof connectors on here, so you don't have to worry about water getting on stuff. Here's your throttle bodies. Really haven't had to do a whole lot to this, but I did notice one thing. There's the clutch cable. You see it's got a big kink in it, so my cable, and it goes through the holders, little holder there, little wire holder there, but as you can see, it gets a big kink in it right there, so my clutch cable, I'm going to have to play with that and try to reroute that a little bit different and see if I can take that kink out of it, because it definitely makes it kind of stick a little bit where it doesn't want to return. I'll put some brakes on here next time, but anyway, nice little, kind of get an overview of what you're looking at here. And this is just got a little bit of foam around it, so you gotta be careful with it. You don't want to mess it up. And on the other side, same thing. You got a little foam going all the way around there. It fits in there, so you just want to be careful and not mess it up. It's a $100 part. Okay, and then this is kind of a air valve that goes back in there. There's your connectors. Forgot what else I was going to look at. I don't know, but I've got a problem with these mirrors. They don't hold very good. They keep moving around. So I bought some bar end mirrors. So I'm going to take these big bar end pieces off. One thing I noticed they changed on the 2010s is somewhere in here there's a rear mount for the engine. Actually, I think it's up towards the front somewhere and you can't see it, probably without getting all that air box out of the way, but maybe right up in there, I'm not sure where. There's a mount, or it could be these down here, and they rubber mounted the newer ones on the 2010s. Here's your battery back here. That's your for your alternator, your regulator. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then this is your, I think your diagnostic plug, I believe. There's your computer down in there. To pull the plastic inner fender out, I believe, to get that out of there. So, pretty nice tight setup here. Not too bad. Definitely, oh, and it's got a sensor on it, so if you fall over it cuts the engine off. So that's kind of a neat feature. Knows exactly how far over the bike's leaning. If it leans or falls over 90 degrees, I guess, something like that, it cuts it off. So that's a nice thing to know. So far I've loved the bike, and I came off a much bigger bike, and this thing It really flies. It gets good mileage. I didn't put a whole lot of miles on it. Probably only about 500 so far, but I like it. All right.